Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar today. This is the USAC webinar for Online Global Perspectives programs. This is looking at our online courses and virtual internship options. So we're just thrilled to see so many of you here today, a lot of familiar names and also some new names as well, and kind of a mix of staff and students. So we're really excited to share a little bit about these programs with you today. My name is Courtney Bauman. I'm the University Relations Coordinator working for USAC with schools in the sort of central and southern part of the United States, and I'm based in Dallas.
And my name is Joel Freeman. I'm the University Relations Coordinator for the Upper Midwest, and I'm based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And also today, we're being helped by Rachel Hardison, who is the Southeast University Relations Coordinator. She's based in Columbia, South Carolina, and Kara Bingham and Justice Watt from our enrollment department, who are really crucial in setting up these online programs. We're happy that they'll be there to join us and help answer some of the questions.
Okay, great. So a little bit about what we're going to cover today. So we know that many of you attending may already be very familiar with USAC, but there are some new folks as well. So we want to just give you a little bit of background about who we are. Joel's going to then dive into the online courses, the course options, do some faculty highlights, and we'll also talk about eligibility, the application process, and all of those details. Then I'll walk you through the virtual internships. We'll look at placement options, the kind of support that USAC offers interns throughout their experience, and again, kind of go through eligibility, the application process, dates, program fees, all that. And we also want to highlight some of the transferable skills that interns will get through these opportunities and help students and staff who are advising students walk away with some application tips. We'll also cover a few quick updates about summer and fall programs, and then we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. So about questions, and by now many of you may be pros at attending webinars, but with a group this size, the best way to handle questions is we have a question box, and so you'll see that it's part of the GoToWebinar platform. So you can type your questions into that question box, and Rachel is going to be monitoring that question box. So she can respond to you in chat, and then we'll also address some questions at the end that could be good to kind of talk through as a group. Now, realistically, with a group this size, it won't be possible to really dive into super specific questions, but we want you to know that we do want to answer all of your questions. And so at the end, we'll have a slide with important information about next steps. So if you're a student, where can you go to get more information? How can you apply? If you're a staff member, who's the University Relations Coordinator in your region who you can follow up with? So even though we may not be able to address super specific questions today as part of this webinar, we want you to know that we do want to address all of your questions. You'll also receive a recording of this webinar and as well as an email with the PDF slides. That way you can easily click on any hyperlinks and you can share these slides as you wish. So now that you know a little bit about who we are and what we're planning to do today, we kind of want to find out a little bit about who's in the room, like who's here and what brings you here. So I'm going to launch a couple of quick poll questions. So you should see this pop up. Oh, shoot. Let's see here. Oh, you want to know what brings you to the webinar today. So I'm going to launch this, and we're interested to know, are you interested in specifically the online courses, virtual internships? Are you interested in learning more about USAC or maybe something else? And this is one where you can just select any and all that apply. So it looks like the answers are rolling in. This is great. Okay, and I think most of you have had a chance to respond. Still got some responses coming in. So definitely lots of interest in the virtual internships, which we expected, as well as a good amount of interest in the online courses and learning more about USAC, which is fantastic. Cool. So next up is going to be Joel to just give you a little bit of background information about USAC.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you that are completely new to USAC, hopefully this is a good kind of snapshot about who we are and what we offer. So USAC, we have been a study abroad organization for nearly 40 years. Our roots are in the Basque Country in northern Spain, where we launched our inaugural program in 1982 in San Sebastian, Spain. Since then, we have expanded now to over 50 locations in 26 different countries. Ever since we have been an organization, we've always been based at the University of Nevada, Reno, and we are a university-based study abroad organization. In the summer of 2014, we split from UNR and became an independent nonprofit organization. However, we are still in the same location and work with them very closely. We are comprised of a consortium of 33 different US universities, and they provide our accreditation, our academic backing. They serve as our board of directors, among other things. However, those are not the only schools that we work with. We work with over 300 schools every single academic year. And USAC, we have about 500 employees worldwide, 60 to 70 of which are based in the US alone. So I'm going to dive into some of the new online course options that we have available for students later this summer. So these courses, of which there are 40, are really focused on 4 main themes. You can see there: business and communication, health and nutrition, language, literature and the arts, and then international and cultural studies. These 40 courses are pulled from 14 different USAC specialty programs located in Europe, Asia, and Latin America. Students do have the option to take 1 or 2 courses for 3 or 6 credits later this summer. You can take a 1 3-credit course and the virtual internship, with which Courtney will provide you with some more information later on. These courses will allow you to earn US credits upon the completion of the program, and we will have syllabi available to you. These courses are pre-existing courses. However, we need to modify them to fit this online and condensed format. So we have the syllabi prepared. We just need to make it match this new online option. So some of the benefits of taking an online course with USAC is, one of USAC's key features is that we are and do tend to be one of the most affordable study abroad organizations. And that's true for our online options as well. We wanted to make sure that this was an affordable option and possibly less than what a student would normally pay for domestic or additional international online options. Taking courses during the summer, of course, will allow students to stay on track for graduation, but also the opportunity to maybe catch up if they had to fall behind in previous terms. Perhaps students are interested in adding a minor and they can pursue some courses this summer to continue progressing in that regard. Students that do complete an online course, whether it's 3 or 6 credits, will receive a discount for future USAC specialty on-site programs. So for students that are interested in perhaps taking these online courses as a precursor to a study abroad program later on, you do have a financial benefit to doing so. Of the 40 courses, these are some of the most popular USAC courses that we do offer, with some of our most accomplished faculty located worldwide. These faculty are all international as well, so they are located in these cities and countries in which our programs would normally be running. So they provide students with a unique perspective as they are in those locations, they are at those universities. So it gives you a unique international experience to the course content. Also, now students are able to travel the world essentially in an afternoon, albeit it would be a virtual, traveling, but never before has a student been able to take a USAC specialty course in London and in India during the same term. But now students can take those two courses throughout the same term later this summer to provide you with a unique perspective. The classes that the students are able to take, the actual student makeup of those courses is pretty wide ranging. Most of the students that attend USAC programs are US college students, but we, as I mentioned earlier, work with over 300 universities annually. So you may have some students in your program that you might share the same home institution, but chances are you might be only one of a couple of students from your home institution. Obviously, with an online program option, we aren't able to offer some of the on-site capabilities that a regular study abroad program would have. However, we are making sure that the syllabi will allow for students to gain and develop intercultural competencies so that you can achieve those during the duration of the coursework. And then, as I mentioned previously, you could virtually go to London and to India in just an afternoon, but you can also take courses from varying fields. So if you are a business student, you could take a business course that is offered by a faculty in Torino, Italy, and then perhaps you need to progress towards your Spanish minor, and you could take an intermediate Spanish language course later this summer. So this is the list of the 40 courses we have available to this summer. As you can see, the four main themes that we have offered. And then you will also see next to the course title is the location in which this program is typically taught and where the faculty who is teaching the program for these online courses is based. And looking a little bit further, we wanted to kind of highlight some of these courses as well to give you a little bit more of a visual and understanding of what these courses might look like, who's teaching them, what they comprise. So this is a course that we have offered in London, which is a regular occurring USAC course that is offered for the online portion. Literary London from Dickens to Huxley. So this is, no better way to learn about literature with London in the background from someone who is from London, who lives and works and teaches in that location. And also it wouldn't help, it wouldn't hurt that the faculty member teaching the course is actually the great-great-great-granddaughter of the author Charles Dickens. And another course in London that we are highlighting is LGBTQ plus London, which is co-taught by two faculty members in London who have extensive experience in sociology and social justice, which will provide students with a really unique opportunity to gain insight as to what are the social justice issues related to LGBTQ plus rights in London and the UK and Europe as a whole, rather than just the scope of the US that would normally be offered for a course that is based here. And two other faculty members and a couple of courses that we would like to highlight is two courses that are typically offered in our Bengaluru, India program, which is Population and Poverty and Caste, Class, and Gender in India. Our program in India really has a strong focus academically in sociology, religious studies, gender studies as well. So this will provide students with a unique perspective. And then our program in Torino, Italy has a very, very strong focus on business and international business. So it would be a really unique opportunity to be taught by a faculty member who has experience working with Fiat, Gucci, and Pirelli tires. So looking at some of the logistics for the online courses, how to apply, etc. So the program is going to run from June 15th until July 25th, later this summer. Students that are interested must have at least a 2.0 GPA and meets any of the academic prerequisites for those courses, which you can find once you apply and get in contact with your enrollment specialist for the online courses. And students must be at least 18 years old at the time of application. The application process is pretty simple and pretty easy to accomplish. It's all online. So you'll need to apply on our main page, usac.edu. From there, you'll submit an online application along with your unofficial transcript so we can verify you meet the GPA requirements. We are not requiring the application fee or the confirmation deposit for this or for the virtual internship options this summer. With the current situation going on in the world, we know a lot of students are experiencing financial hardship. So we want to make sure that this opportunity is affordable and accessible for you. So there isn't any additional payments by outside of the actual program cost. Many students will typically need home university approval from their home institution. This is not required for the online courses. However, we do strongly advise that students get in contact with their home university so that they can help them throughout this planning process and figure out how courses will transfer upon completion of the program. The application deadline is later this month, May 25th, which is Monday, Memorial Day, but we will consider late applications for a couple weeks thereafter. The program fee is $985 per 3-credit course. That does not include possible textbook fees, but we will provide you more information depending on the courses that you choose. And again, as I mentioned earlier, students that do participate in a USAC online course will be able to receive a discount towards a future USAC on-site program. And with that, we'll turn it over to Courtney to talk about some of the virtual internship options.
Okay, great. Yeah, diving into the virtual internship. So what is this experience going to be like? Students who participate in the virtual internship program will be working remotely from home, but for an internationally based company or organization. And these are companies based in the countries where we have programs, where we have strong relationships with companies and organizations there. What does this provide for an intern? So it's definitely a great opportunity to learn about a future career field. You're getting intercultural work experience, and you're learning a whole lot about the workplace culture of your placement country. So even though you are working remotely, you're still having daily interactions with your colleagues on the other side of the globe. So interns will complete at least 120 work hours during US work hours mainly. So if you're wondering like, oh, am I going to be working on Shanghai time? Like, what are my work hours going to be like? No, you won't. We've basically sort of loosely set the work hours to be from around, anywhere from 8 a.m. US time till around 9 p.m. US time. So a lot of what interns will be sort of project work, but you will also be connecting with your colleagues at least a couple times a week. And so you'll have to kind of be a little bit flexible about the times that will work best for you to do that. But on the whole, you will be working during US working hours, not like any crazy middle of the night hours. Our internships include a 15-hour seminar. And this piece is really designed to help students reflect on these experiences and really learn how to articulate them and leverage them. So the seminar is something that is done in tandem and happens at the same time as the internship. And there are assignments and exercises that help a student, reflect on the kind of intercultural skills that they're gaining, organizational frameworks, all of that, so that they're really able to articulate those experiences, include them on a resume, talk about them in an interview or at a career fair, and just really kind of make sure that they're getting the most and like closing that loop on the learning experience that the internship is. Throughout the internship, interns will have Guidance and support from the resident director. So these are the directors on site in the country where the company or organization is located. And our resident directors are the ones, on a daily basis working with students on site. They have tons of experience in helping students navigate this kind of intercultural experience, helping them work through challenges. And they're really experts in the country where they live, but also have worked with tons of US students over the years and can really speak to both experiences. So as interns are maybe having questions that relate to communication or whatever, the resident director is really there to help them talk through that and kind of help guide them through that experience, just like they would for a student who was on site. Students earn 3 credit hours and get a US transcript for their internship experience, and that includes the work hours that they do as well as the 15-hour seminar. Some of the benefits, definitely an intern will build a professional network, begin to work on that. You'll have colleagues, in a completely different country. And then in addition to that network, you'll also become part of the USAC alumni network. And we have an alumni network on LinkedIn where we offer various, professional development opportunities and opportunities to network with other alums. So you have access to that just like any other USAC alum participating on a USAC program would. Okay. So a little bit about placements. What are they? Where are they? This kind of listed out. You can see there are a variety of different fields. Not surprisingly, digital marketing and social media is a big one. And there are placements with companies in several different countries for that one. Placements in business, event planning, engineering, translation, social services, English language instruction, journalism, and grant writing. And from the countries listed, you can see that there are opportunities really to work with companies all across the globe. I want to give you a couple of examples of a couple of internship placements. So this is one example that we have with a company in Prague, Transitions Online. They're an online publication, and this gives you a little bit of an idea about the kind of work that an intern would be doing for Transitions Online. So business development, community outreach and fundraising, social media marketing, and then doing some writing. And you guys will get these slides, so you'll be able to read through all of this, but I definitely wanted to give kind of a concrete example of what an internship placement would look like. Here's a second one that is with a company in Verona, the Italian Planners. So this is an event planning company, and you can see here that this particular internship placement is around event planning and digital marketing. You can see the tasks that an intern would be doing with this particular placement. And we'll talk about this in a minute, but I wanted to give you a couple of concrete examples. But with that said, I mean, it's very likely that these 2 internships may not be your or your student's internship placement. So flexibility is really key, and really, thinking about what kind of skills does an intern want to gain, maybe over where is the specific location or the specific company that they may be interested in interning for. So you could kind of see in the internship descriptions that were just listed the kinds of projects and tasks that an intern would be working on. And there are a lot of great transferable skills that an intern is going to gain. Definitely time management. And I think most especially for a virtual internship, because so much of what an intern will be doing will be project work that they're doing in a time zone that may be very different from the company that they're working for. So you'll definitely gain some pretty impressive time management skills as well as project management skills. So an intern is not going to be working in a bubble. They are going to be working with colleagues and a supervisor, in another country, and they'll be working on projects with those teams, having to navigate, okay, how do you work with people who are from a completely different culture and in a completely different time zone, and how do you move a project forward, even, collaborating with people with some of those challenges. These are things that, many of us do every day, and they're very relevant for pretty much any career field. Definitely intercultural communication. You could see from some of the descriptions listed before that research and analysis can be a big part of what an intern would be doing for a company. Certainly adaptability, teamwork, and business and professional writing. In a virtual situation, much of the interaction that an intern will be having with colleagues and a supervisor will be in a written format. So definitely honing those skills for a professional context. So a little bit about transferable skills, and then diving into eligibility dates, program fees, and all of that. So in order to be eligible for the virtual internship, a student needs to be at least 18 years old at the time of application. They should be a degree-seeking university student with a GPA of at least 3.0 or higher. You need to be sophomore standing. There is an interview required, which we'll talk about in a little bit greater depth here in just a second. And for most internship placements, there won't be a language requirement, but if you are doing translation work, for instance, then yes, you will need some language skills to be able to do that. So some important dates: June 15th is the application deadline, and just like with our online courses, there's no application fee, so students really can apply without risk. We really want these opportunities to be accessible to students and for them to be able to take the first steps at no risk. About these internships, the placements are made on a rolling basis. So we do recommend early application. As far as when an internship will start, that will kind of vary placement to placement. So they could start anywhere between June 1st and July 15th and run through August 7th. And the exact dates will kind of vary just depending on the placement and the supervisor. So about the fees, $13.90 is the cost of the virtual internship fee, and that does include the 3 credit hours. Students don't have to pay that fee until after a placement has been offered to them. So you would need to pay it within 48 hours of the placement offer, but applying, you don't have to invest anything in that, and the payment isn't due until after your placement is offered. But it is important to note that it is non-refundable. Just like with the online courses, any virtual internship participant is then eligible for a discount on a future USAC specialty program. So we do hope that these virtual opportunities this summer will kind of be a launching pad for students into an on-site study abroad program in the future. A little bit about the application process. So just like any other USAC study abroad program, students will start their application on the USAC website. They'll complete a virtual or an internship placement form and some other paperwork. No application fee or confirmation deposit is required. Since there is a 3.0 GPA requirement, then we do want to see a transcript, but the transcript can be unofficial. And for the internships, university approval is required. Virtual internship applicants will also work really closely with Justice, who is coordinating this program, kind of on the front end to talk through what are their goals for the program? What are their skills? What kind of internship placement is really going to work best for them so that he can identify, the best options where an intern will be most successful. Just like with any other intern or job situation, you will have to submit a resume and a cover letter, and we'll give you some tips for that here in just a second. And, kind of like we mentioned before, the payment of the program fee isn't actually due until after you have been offered a placement. Okay, so some application tips. Mentioned this earlier, but placements are made on a rolling basis, so we do definitely recommend applying early. Flexibility is key, which I think is important to keep in mind for any professional endeavors. It's important to think about what an intern really wants to get out of the experience. What are their motivations, their goals, their skills, and to prioritize those things over, maybe the country where the company is located. So flexibility is important. You'll want to develop a strong, error-free resume and cover letter. And for students, we really want to encourage you to utilize the Career Development Center on your home campus. I mean, you may not be on your home campus physically right now, but it's highly likely that your Career Center is still doing, virtual advising sessions with students, that they're still doing, resume reviews, cover letter reviews, that kind of thing. So definitely take advantage of those resources so that you can, submit the best resume and cover letter possible. Talk to your mentors. Especially for students who don't already have a lot of professional experience, it can be tough to think about, like, how are you going to fill out an entire resume? But it can help to talk to mentors to talk to people who do the kind of work that you're interested in doing, and just to talk through all of your relevant experience, even if it's paid or unpaid, or leadership experiences on campus or whatever, so that you do make sure that your resume really reflects the full scope of your experience and skills. It's important to practice interviewing, and this is again where your university career development center can come in. They will most definitely offer mock interviews. Many of them have platforms that allow you to practice virtual interviews where you can record yourself, and you can do that, you know, as many times as you need to. But it is important to practice and to get comfortable with that interview process. And, you know, even though you will be working remotely and interviewing remotely, and some of the time people may not be able to see you, dress for success. You know, pants and shoes are absolutely essential, and that advice probably goes for all of us pretty much these days. So that kind of wraps up the information that we wanted to share with you specifically about the virtual programs. And especially for the students listening, we do really hope that these programs will be able to offer you a great opportunity this summer to continue to gain the kind of intercultural experience that you're hoping to do. And it may be a little bit difficult for us to travel physically in these moments, but it really is still absolutely possible to have meaningful intercultural experiences, to you know, continue to develop relationships across borders, and to continue to work together and learn from each other. So we hope that, you know, you'll be able to make the most out of your summer through some of these virtual opportunities, and you know, that you'll also use these as a stepping stone to a future on-site study abroad experience. And with that, Joel's going to take it over and talk a little bit about summer and fall updates.
Yeah, so absolutely. So the online courses that I was talking about earlier were all courses that are offered on USAC specialty programs. They do not include the USAC partnership programs. However, our partner in Israel, the University of Haifa, they are also offering a virtual summer program open to USAC students, which we're really excited about. So this is an opportunity for students to take either an Arabic language course or a Hebrew language course. You can see those dates there, the Arabic language course beginning in early July and the Hebrew language course beginning in late July. The program fee is $15.90 for the 3 or 4 credit course. And the application deadline isn't until next week. So for students that are really interested in either of these languages, perhaps they are a minor or have always been really interested in these languages for personal or professional reasons, we strongly encourage you to consider this program. Also, students that do participate in the Haifa Virtual Summer Program will be eligible to receive a discount for a future USAC on-site program. In addition to all of the virtual options, we did want to take just a couple of moments to just bring you all up to speed with some updates about regular running USAC programs as well, and some relevant information for you. So for the fall 2020 term, we are still proceeding with those programs, and we're planning on having them all open and welcoming students for that term. For these fall specialty programs, we have come to the decision to condense those calendars. We realize that it's going to be quite the task to try to secure a visa for students for this fall semester. And for that reason, we wanted to reduce the program duration to allow for students to participate, but not need to get a visa for these programs. So more information will be provided about the other specialty programs, but you can see that our programs in Spain, Italy, France, Czech Republic, and Chile have all been reduced so that students are able to participate without a visa. As we mentioned, for the online courses and the virtual internship, we are not requiring the $100 application fee for those programs, but we've extended that to all programs in the 2020-2021 academic year. So that is this summer, fall 2020, and spring 21. So students are not required to submit the $100 application fee. Again, we're really just, we want to keep the door open to as many students as possible. We know that a lot of students and families are going to be experiencing hardships. So we want you to still have this opportunity and not limit you based on the current situation. And lastly, the confirmation deposit. So not all students are required to pay this. Sometimes USAC will invoice the home institution directly, and the student will pay their tuition as usual. But we have extended the $500 confirmation deposit for those students that do pay USAC directly for the summer and fall 2020. And this is for specialty programs, and that is until the balance due date. So that balance due date does vary from program to program. So please check out our website to get some more information about the program you are interested in. And the $500 confirmation deposit is refundable until October 1st for spring 2021 programs as well. Again, just keep an eye out on our website for this program specifics about those. And lastly, to follow up, and hopefully you are all interested in either, if you're a student, you're interested in pursuing one of these opportunities, or perhaps you're interested in a USAC program on site for a later term. And for university staff, maybe you want to promote these opportunities to your students, so we're glad that you're all able to join us. Please visit our website. Obviously, you can see more information about program specifics. That is how students will be able to apply. We also encourage you to check out our blog as well and some of the videos that we have available. We're really focusing on our efforts to provide information for students that are now moving to an online format and are, managing this new reality that we're currently living in. And for university staff, we encourage you to reach out to your respective university relations coordinator for more information. We are now going to turn it over to Rachel and Kara and Justice. Rachel is monitoring the questions that you have been submitting. So please, at this time, if you haven't sent any questions, please send those in. And then for general questions, Rachel is going to go ahead and answer those, but for others, we'll follow up with you individually. So thank you all again, and I'll let Rachel take over from here.
Thank you, Joel, and thank you all for submitting your questions. A few of them, I've been trying to answer, but they definitely apply to the whole group. So just wanted to address a couple of those. There was a question about, for the online courses, if students will receive a USAC grade report or a transcript. Because this is a pilot, we are just sticking with an official transcript from one of the USAC universities for credit for these programs. Even if you typically receive a grade report, that will certainly be addressed if later, if we continue with this program in the future, and Kara can also speak to that if there are further questions. But for this particular session, students will be receiving a US transcript from one of our USAC universities. There was another question about the discount. So will it be automatically applied if a student participates in this summer Global Perspectives program, and if they then participate in a future program, the discount should automatically be applied. They don't need to apply for that, for a future program. If they have already been accepted for a fall semester program, I would advise them to reach out to their accounting specialist just to make sure that we don't miss that. Since they've been accepted, they may already have a balance on their account, but it should, that discount should automatically be applied. So that was a good question. And can students use financial aid? Most definitely. If they're eligible for it on their campuses and can use that for the summer, then we're happy to accept that. So they can definitely use that. And then we have a couple more questions I'm going to ask Justice and Kara to address. There were a couple questions about graduate students, if graduate students can participate in the internship program. Justice, would you mind providing more details on that one?
Certainly. So yes, graduate students are able to participate in the virtual internship program. It really is going to depend on their field and the depth of experience they're looking for. As Courtney mentioned earlier, many of our placements are focused on business and digital marketing and social media management. And so some of those placements might not appeal to a graduate student in the same way that they would to an undergrad, but there's no reason that they can't apply to those if they would like. We also have a number of placements that are working on projects for NGOs focused on grant writing and some research that may be more appropriate for grad students or may appeal to their interests more. So they are definitely welcome to apply to those as well. One thing to keep in mind is that the credit that comes back is going to be undergraduate credit. All of our internship placements will be accredited in undergraduate credit, and therefore how that applies to a graduate degree would be a conversation for a graduate student and their advisor.
Okay, thank you, Justice. Then we had a question I'm going to ask Kara to answer for us. So how are we gauging student intercultural skill building in the online coursework and kind of related to training that faculty may have to engage in this area to appeal to students? So Kara, if you could maybe speak to that.
I can speak to it specifically with the international internships. That is where the intercultural skill development is really being focused. I think with the online classes, that is not something that is taking place. I think for students with the online classes themselves, the focus mainly is providing them with case studies, different perspectives, different viewpoints from around the world. I'd say the courses themselves are not focused on intercultural skill development and more international perspectives in that sense. But with the internships, it's quite different with the addition of the intercultural seminar or the internship seminar that we have. And one of our resident directors, Dr. Jeremy Dowdy, has a PhD in higher education administration and a master's from the School for International Training. And his academic focus and specialty really is on intercultural learning. And so what he's done with the seminar that accompanies and is part of the internships is to create an asynchronous course where there are readings and videos and concepts to get students thinking about intercultural interactions and how those play out in the workforce, and developing series of questions for students to consider as they are keeping their journal for their work, as they're developing their midterm report and their final report for the internship, that really requires the students to go back and to apply and link the work that they're doing with the theories that they are reading about and studying in the seminar itself. Jeremy also will be having discussion groups that are synchronous with the students so that they can have small discussion groups to explore these issues and perhaps talk about the way work is being handled in the Czech Republic versus in Italy or in Chile, and trying to find the overlap and then the overlay of common areas where culture maybe manifests itself in the approach to a project, and help students to really reflect even on their experiences here in the US to compare and contrast across their work experiences. Something that you had wrote to me behind the scenes, Rachel, that I thought was interesting, and we had not planned to do this, but it sort of sparked an interest for me. This is a unique opportunity for USAC to look at these internships almost as a control group, because it is a smaller group, to be able to assess how this learning takes place at the end. So to whoever asked that question, I think that was has spurred some possible new projects for us as well. So thank you.
Okay, Kara, I have one more for you. We did get a question asking why the home university approval is required for the internships, but not for the courses.
Yeah. So for the internships, we do need to do more vetting of the students themselves. And so therefore it is important to have the home university approval. With this being a summer pilot program for the courses, because it's not part of the regular academic year and it's just, part of the summer, we wanted to make the courses open to as many students as possible, and just the speed in which we need also to turn all of this around. We felt that we wouldn't need the home university approval for the classes in the same way that we do for the internships.
Thank you. And we received another question about placement. So Justice, if you might be able to address this one. For internship placements, is there a list or database for students to choose from or rank preferences? And if so, how will students know what is available or if an internship has been filled?
So there is a list on our website, on the virtual internship page, that lists types of internships that are available. It lists the kinds of work responsibilities that a student can expect from that type of an internship, and it lists the country in which those placements are available. So we don't have a list of specific placements available online because we want to make that part of a larger conversation about what it is a student's looking for, what are their expectations, what are they hoping to achieve from the internship, and then also wrap in their qualifications, their experience, and things like that. And so we want that to be a larger holistic conversation. That's part of that pre-screening interview. Once we get through that part, then we start to talk about the placements. So every student will be given information about the specific placements that are available, but we don't want them to think about applying to a specific placement because, one, we cannot guarantee placement with a specific provider, and two, we really want them to think about this in, as I said, a holistic manner, thinking about the internship writ large as an experience rather than as just a specific placement with a specific company.
Great, thank you. And one more about placements, Justice. If a student receives their internship placement and decides to withdraw when they're placed, are they still required to pay that fee?
So the student will go through the pre-screening interview where we'll have that conversation I was just talking about. We'll work together through the available placements and find something that we both agree that will fit the student, their qualifications and their expectations. From that point, it's turned over to the resident director who's overseeing that internship placement, and they can introduce the student to the site supervisor and get into a more specific kind of job interview where they'll talk about the specific projects they'll work on and the very specific job expectations. It's that at that point that they will either be offered a position or not. So once they are offered a position, then they can agree on that confirmation, and that's when they would pay. So if they do not accept a position, then there is no financial obligation. If they do accept the position, fill out the internship contract, at that point is when they are considered confirmed and when that non-refundable program fee would apply.
Okay, thank you. That appears to be all the questions that we received, unless there are any other last minute questions. But again, if you think of anything else, if you're a student, please do reach out to the studyabroad@usac.edu email address. And for staff, please reach out to your university relations coordinator and we will do our best to answer your questions, get the information to answer your questions. So we're here to help. And thank you to Kara and Justice for answering, some of those detailed questions about placements and courses and things like that. But I think that wraps up our webinar. So we do appreciate you taking the time to attend and your interest in our new online Global Perspectives program. And we hope to welcome some of your students on the program. So take care.